What do you give someone who already has everything? You give them the sound of a perfect share. Head to mychicagostate.com/rumble.com rumble. Chicago State Company, top 2% of beef in America, USDA, prime and premium Angus, hand cut by master butchers. The kind of marbling that hits a hot pan and fills the whole house with that smell, that buttery meat goodness. You know, the ones spend $229 on any holiday order or your gifts arrive to your loved ones. Doors with 6 free petted ribeyes, plus free shipping. That's $240 in premium steaks, absolutely free. Then there's the unboxing, a black and gold gift box worth unwrapping, packed with dry ice, smoke rolled out when they cracked it open. Christmas morning energy. It's not just any swear, it's dinner that becomes a memory. mychicagostate.com/rumble, RUMBLE. Did you know the biggest threat of your retirement is not something that's talked about often? Our increased longevity in America means default retirement accounts like the IRAs, the 401ks, and the TSPs may not specific if you have over $100,000 in your retirement account. Get access to a free 2-minute report from Augusta Precious Metals and reveals the one step you can take to secure your financial future. Text SAFE SAFE to 35052 today.
Yeah, grand rising, everybody. Sorry we have a little technical difficulties, but we finna get ready to start this live. You know what I'm saying? We doing it live and lit, and we going into this one tonight. And like I said, technical difficulties on this one. We gonna start this one off with a banger. Now I'm waiting on my brother Dickie Jr. Let me see. Let me see if he checked in already, but I don't think he checked in yet. But this one's gonna be called "The Fall of the Dark Illuminati." Seeing it, you know, what I'm saying in live time that the system is falling. We spoke about it for years. A lot of people, just now, a lot of people just now waking up about what was been going on for many decades on this planet, and now I'm so glad a lot of people are witnessing it and waking up. I'm so glad you are. So before we get started, I'm just trying to find out what Dickie at. You know what I'm saying? Before we get started, because this is gonna be we gonna be here number like, but a little bit over an hour. We ain't gonna be on here too long. because we gotta make some movements in the morning. I mean, in the AM, and I'm telling you, what I'm saying, you don't want to miss this one. Please share and like, and it's your first time coming to coming to We Are Vision TV. Please hit that subscribe button. I'm telling you, we doing a lot of big things here on We Are Vision TV. We moving this over to Raw Vision Network. What I'm saying, starting next year. We're gonna get all our trademark and all this stuff together. What I'm saying? So, like I said, I want to thank everybody that's been showing their support for We Are Vicious TV. Like I said, we ain't nothing but family men. What I'm saying? We are people. We go in and they want to call us conspiracy theorists, but we not conspiracy theorists. We truthers. We all about giving y'all the truth. What I'm saying? And like I said, we not perfect. We 100% human. We do the best we can to spread the message. So if you got any comment, please leave them in the comment box. If you want to, if you got any other comments, put it in the chat. What I'm saying? I want to hear what y'all think about this live tonight, because, we've been doing this for over 2 decades, dropping this message and dropping what's been going on, the fall of this, what I'm saying, this evil cabal. As we know, the Illuminati, some people just think the Illuminati is just some group, but actually it's not a group. Like we told y'all years ago, you're gonna do your research. You only gotta do your research. There ain't nothing but some shape shifting, what I'm saying, reptilians. They half human, half reptilian. That's all Illuminati really is, a DNA strand. You know what I mean? So, a lot of people think it's all made up and it's all conspiracy. I ain't never seen no reptile and all this. I'm telling you, these beings are real. You know what I mean? And that's why you getting a lot of information that you getting. What I'm saying? Because these reptilians, these shape shifting reptilians, they run all these platforms. You would never think, this how close these hybrids are. What I'm saying? They run these platforms, they censor us. They feast on us. They feast on our children. What I'm saying? Harvard and Jenner prone. They love to, you know, dress themselves in blood. They love the taste of it and give them some type of high. You know what I mean? And you look at this thumbnail that you see right here is from the Bohemian Grove. You know what I mean? And that's what all the presidents and all the secret societies and all the uh, politicians go, and basically the males go and they go and worship this owl and sacrifice under this owl. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know about Bohemian Grove, please do your research. You know what I'm saying? It's a real place. This is what I got on my. This is why I got on my calling and want to spread this message out and expose this shit, because when I found out what they were doing to the children, what I mean, they were sacrificing the children and harvesting adrenochrome. You know what I mean? Me and my brother Dick have been talking about this a lot longer than most people. You know what I'm saying? Exposing this shit a lot longer than most people. You probably ain't ever heard about us. You probably, because we've been shadow banned at the highest peak. And when we finding out that we are, this is what we do. We came to this planet to share the information and expose this. What I'm saying, this dark agenda. As right now, as we witnessing, all the earth changes and all the changes that's happening in the politician, and finding out who was doing all these evil, things to these children and the people. You know what I mean? All this sex trafficking that they've been doing for all these decades and stuff. Like I said, all this stuff now is being exposed. We told you 2025 was going to be a massive exposure. Now 2026 coming in the start of the end of the religion. You know what I mean? So I know a lot of people be like, I understand that you've been grown up into, your certain beliefs and stuff, but I learned when I you know, got on my, calling, that you gotta let all that shit go. Everything that you possibly learned for over all these years that you was growing up, especially in school. In school, it's an indoctrination. It's all they getting you into school to you know if they not trying to lower your frequency because they know that you know that when you come into this world that you born with gifts, you know, and they run tests on you. You thinking because they tell you this is the ear test, but that you hear tones in these headphones, but actually this was a frequency test. You know what I'm saying to lower your frequency. See, you know what I'm saying? A lot of this stuff that we've been learning in school or we've been taught in school, you know what I'm saying? A lot of this stuff was, to lower your frequency or dumb you down even more. You know what I mean? And you were just if you were just like me, a lot of things didn't make sense because a lot of things didn't make sense to me back in the day, and especially going through school. Especially when they tell you that you ain't gonna be anything if you don't graduate. You ain't never gonna mop floors and be a janitor. Like I said, these things like this, it lowers your frequency. You know what I'm saying? It's all negative. It's all and we always been trying to pass that message along to the youth right now. Because right now they just passing on the youth. You go to the next grade, and they don't even know if they learn anything, you know, and they don't want to leave anybody behind. That's what they say. But the kids is not getting, they not getting the full education like they supposed to. Now we find, like I said, now we finding out that they, it's all about mind control, keeping you, like they want you to be. You know what I'm saying? So, and when you go into this system, and I'm telling you, because they always taught you that this is what's all about money. Going to school is about learning about how to make money. No, it's all about the being an intelligent slave. Like I said, we talked about this ish, 15 years ago, you know, because I was wondering why, a lot of this stuff wasn't making sense, and why this stuff seems like, you being more controlled, you being more, uh, told what to do, and I always felt that something was wrong with it. Now they want to play it like, if you ain't went through our courses, going through our classes, and going through school, and you don't speak this way or you don't do things this way, you're not educated, or you're not, But I'm gonna put it like this: like I've been told by the spirit, you know what I'm saying? You got to drop everything that you was learning and what they taught you. You have to drop it because majority of that shit is lies. Same way how they trying to get you to get you to speak certain way and present things a certain way. You know, it's all control. It's all about control. And and I want to say something about YouTube. Like YouTube now, you in this monetization uh, uh, program, and the partner program and YouTube, and they're basically conditioning everybody on YouTube because they want money, and they tell you can't say certain words, you can't say rape, you can't say murder, and you know what I'm saying. It's all conditioning you, but people don't realize because they sell out to money. That's what first thing that's what the main thing these reptilians, these shapeshifts, did. They play on the money. They play on shiny objects, like like your medallions and your gold chains and stuff like that. Because most people you was brought up being poor and wasn't as fortunate, and they, like I said, they know how to prey on you, and they how to use certain things like money and shiny objects to bring you in, to lure you in, so they can control you. You know what I mean? And I mean, you got a lot of people now. They waking up to it. They seeing that this is what they do. but it's still a lot of people out there worship this money god. Is this money god and these reptilians, and like I said, this monitoring this system that we've been living and been going through for all these years, you know, and now to find out that this system, this money system, is really tyrannical. You know what I'm saying? It's really low vibrational. It's really it's divide and conquer, keeping us fighting over something that even not even real. You know what I mean? You know, we put a human being over all the time. You chill and you hurt and you rape for the money. You got women out here, hoeing around, you know what I'm saying, for money. You got, it ain't just women, men too. They hoe around too for the money. You know what I'm saying? And like I just said, everybody want to say, oh, money is the root to all evil. Everybody say this. A lot of people say this. Do they really actually know this? They can say it all they want to. Do they actually understand that this money is the root of all evil? You know what I mean? But the ones who say it, they're the ones who doing all type of, savage things to get it. You know, they killing and they running uh sex trafficking rings and stuff like that. They doing all the bad things and for the money. So I'm just saying, you know, a lot of people gotta sort of realize we're in the age of the know. You have to know who you are. You have to know what you do. You have to know that these 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 entities or exist. The Illuminati do exist. Reptilians do exist. You know what I'm saying? We in the age of the know. You know what I mean? And as you look at this thumbnail, you look at this screen, you seen these reptilians right here, and there's this picture I put up here. A lot of people want to say, "Oh man, this off the name," and I know that these beings do exist, and I know that we all have a reptilian complex. You know what I'm saying? That's what all our, basically our evil thoughts or our evil traits come from. That's part in the brain. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, please do your research. You know what I mean? So before we go into it, I'm still looking for my brother Dickie Jr. because I know he got a lot of stuff to put out. Let me see what's going on with him. I need to probably share him another link. Give me one, give me one more minute, and so I can locate him so we can really go into this because this was his idea to do this live tonight on the the fall of the cabal. So let me send him another link in. Hopefully he get it. And I was just waiting on him. Let me see. It just said they didn't let him in, so we gonna see. Come on. All right. Let me see. I hope he got it this time. They said they won't let him in, but I sent him another link. But if not, he don't get in, I'll still go into this live and do a whole 4 hour because it's a lot of stuff that I know about this topic, and as we know about Bohemian Grove, we got a lot of people sneaking in and we want to, take a look in the inside. As Alex Jones was the really first person to go in to Bohemian Grove and really took, some massive pictures and shots of, what our former presidents and politicians did, when they time off, you know, and these evil some bitches, they do rituals, they sacrifice, and they do it on a certain time of the night. They use the moon, you know, to do sacrifices. All this stuff that you see in the movies, you know, and this stuff actually go on. You know, we spoke about this years ago. About the movies and stuff. When you start seeing, they put out certain, things in the movies, and you think, when they come up with this stuff, this is what they come up with because this stuff happened really in real life. You know, so as we go into 2026, the more we seeing, these politicians and all these, people in Hollywood is being exposed. You're gonna be seeing a lot more in there, but a lot of people is gonna they're gonna start witnessing and seeing stuff and hearing about things that basically it's gonna rally them to the core. You know what I'm saying? You be imagine how many people they could have saved. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, I'm talking about the health field. They could have saved a lot of people. You know what I mean? But they decided to go on with big pharma. You know, and I know this is a sensitive topic because a lot of people has you know been xed out because they trying to expose big pharma. You know, but then as we all know that big pharma and 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 they medicines, it never did work. It never worked. I'm saying a lot of these medicines do get you addicted to these pills. We already know what Percocets and Lortab does, and I'm saying these people and these people that run these organizations and these people, these people are not, a lot of these people are non-human. You know what I mean? They are non-human beings. I want to look at it. You looking at who it is. You know what I'm saying? These are some majority of the time these are shape shifting motherfucking reptilians that's behind a lot of this tyrannical shit. Especially in our government. So, how many times we done spoke about that? Me and my brother Dickie talked and spoke about this. We researched. You know, like I said, that's what our first thing I did come into my awakening was researching these evil beings, these reptilians, these draconians. It's seven known different species in the reptilian kingdom. You know what I'm saying? So, but the ruthless ones is the draconians. You know what I mean? And these draconians, they stand up to 12 feet, well, to 17 to you know 17 feet tall with wings. You know, most of them come with blue skin, with slit eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like cat eyes. You know what I mean? I mean these some massive creatures, and then you got another type of reptilian. You know what I'm saying? Look like an alien gray. These ones that they are really full blooded and they very old. They've been around for you know many decades, many years. You know what I mean? Past over 200 some ideas. And when you see something reptilian, it look like somewhat like an alien gray, and, and them the oldest type of being in the reptile kingdom. So just saying, you know, please educate yourself on these reptilians because, like my brother Dickie said, it's gonna be a time that they can't hold their frequency. Well, it's really we already among that time that they ain't gonna be able to hold they shift, they shape. You know what I'm saying? And one day, all of a sudden, we gonna probably be somewhere, or you gonna be working with a coworker, or you gonna be out somewhere, and then you gonna see who your coworker really is. You know what I'm saying? Because the frequency, the frequency of the planet is really, is changing all that. You know, we had plenty of whistleblowers spoke on that about these reptilians. All of a sudden, it's gonna come to a day, and I'm gonna name one name, and that's Arizona Wilder. If you don't know about Arizona Wilder, do your research. So she spoke about it. She was born in one of the Illuminati families. So just do your research on these certain individuals because, like I said, they've been used to for certain things, certain families. Like we got a show out right now, Stranger Things, and that was made on by true, but happened in true events that happened back in the '80s. That the Montauk project. If you don't know nothing about the Montauk Project, please do your research. You know what I'm saying? They was doing electroshock therapy and they were doing all type of humane things to these children. They used autistic children or children that have special gifts. You know, they be telepathic or they can do they have telekinesis powers and stuff. You know what I'm saying? They was using these children so they can really see trying to get a child or a person to see through different dimensions and different realities. That's what they were trying to do. You know, they were trying to get the control and and really dominate, outside of this realm. And they were using these children, and it was hoping they can use one of these children to see in other realms and stuff. So, but by them doing that, they were real. They when they are always messing with stuff. They always experiment, and they always fuck up. And they always when they fuck up, something they release something into our world. When you look at Stranger Things, you know, and you just analyze the show, and like I said, a lot of it they portray on it. It was some of it was made up, but majority of it was telling a lot of truth about what they were doing to their children. And like I said, and what they released by accidentally release something into our world. You know, and that's why we have all these sightings of Bigfoot and all these other creatures and stuff like that. What you think this is? You thinking this is a coincidence, when you find out you hear about the Mothman and Bigfoot, you know what I mean? You think this is a coincidence? No. What I'm saying, these they sit around and they experiment with different, beings and different creatures and stuff. And if they don't just release them into the wild or they get out. That's what I'm saying. This stuff, and I like to call this place the zoo. You know what I mean? Because everything that you could just think of, they done it on this planet. You know what I'm saying? Every evil thought you can think, they done it. You know what I'm saying? These evil beings, because that's how we fight against. You know what I'm saying? We are warring with a non-human being. We thinking we sitting up here, battling and rivaling with another human or a certain group of humans. No, we are battling and warring with a non-human entity. You know what I'm saying? And nine out of 10, a lot of people just don't educate themselves to know about this. Because they want us thinking this is all, it's all made up. It's all a conspiracy. You know what I'm saying? Well, my understanding about a conspiracy, the conspiracy is telling is about the truth. You know what I mean? They just wanna use their word to make us to seem like we not credible. You know what I'm saying? We just make up things. You know what I mean? So just saying. Now, and I want to give it up to a lot of people that it is in this community. It's it's spreading the awareness and waking and trying to wake people up. Even though it's too late to do that, to trying to wake people up, but you still on your path and you still exposing, saying this deep dark cabal. You know what I mean? We already know it's 13 ruling families that these evil shapeshifts, you know, uh, lie under, you know, and now you're educating yourself. Finally, people are educating themselves, like we've been telling them to go do their own research so they could get their full understanding about what we've been talking about all these years. So now, as we go now, you like I said earlier, a lot of people gonna have a mass awakening. They're gonna have a massive. the truth bomb is gonna hit them and find out that they friends or they neighbors or somebody that they were close to that they thought they was human, but they not. Now we spoke about clones. We spoke about robotoids. We spoke about all these type of different, uh, uh, yeah. I think they cut me off. I think they cut me off. They cut me off right there. So I had to jump back in here. You know what I mean? Because all of a sudden, I seen the screen go black. So, you know, you know, you know, bear with me because if I get cut off again, it's not me. You know what I mean? I guess they already know and we already sending out to YouTube and Rumble and the locale channel. So, bear with us. If you seem like this platform is not working, it's not us. I'm just telling you this. And I don't know what happened to Dickie. Dickie said he couldn't really come in. So I guess we're gonna finish the next 30 minutes up and finish it up without Dickie tonight. But I do want to go into this right here. Now we experiencing, uh, order out of chaos. I spoke about this, and I put so much information out about order out of chaos, and that's what we're experiencing now. You know, and even though the Georgia Guidestones, was supposed to be destroyed, we're talking about depopulation. These reptilian, the shapeshifters, the Illuminati. This was the Illuminati plan to, uh, uh, kill out 90% of the population. That's what the Georgia Guidestones spoke about. To break it down to 500 million, and 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 they like to build on fear like a motherfucker. A lot of people hear about them trying to depopulate. I mean, I spoke to a lot of people over the years, and they were just so in massive fear. I mean, you start talking to them about all this, talking about these beings, talking about what they really do. And they really show a massive fear. So when I was trying to tell people, look, man, find it in yourself and go and do your shadow work to because fear ain't nothing but a program. See, they've been grooming us since birth. You know what I mean? These evil shapeshifters, reptilians, and I want to speak on this because a lot of people just don't know, you know, who these people really are. They can be your doctor, your dentist, your doctors. You know what I mean? And I'm telling you, they hold themselves in higher positions most majority of the time. I went to a dentist one time, and I knew this one had to be a shapeshifter. I knew she had to be one. You know what I mean? Because I mean her body was so built up. I mean, she had this really, you can look at the eyes. They said the eyes is always the window to the soul. You know what I mean? And this woman really was really had a lot of aggressive on her, and she just was really a massive woman. You know what I mean? And Caucasian woman at that. She kept her face covered. I don't know if that what dentists always do, kept their face covered, with the mask on and stuff like that. But she kept her face covered. And like I said, I just felt that. I just felt that energy. I felt that that low vibrational energy coming off of her. And that's why I'm here to tell people. A lot of people are going, because this is long overdue that we supposed to know these beings do exist. They supposed to put this out years ago. They supposed to expose this. The ETs, you know what I'm saying? The good ETs, you know, put this out a long time ago. Was saying that you need to, tell the public, put this out in the public, tell the public the truth about us and these other beings out here. You know, you know, and this, I'm gonna tell you this. When I heard about this, this was so 20 years ago. So they are so behind schedule. The New World Order is so behind schedule. Even though the 2028, the 2030 agenda, because they keep changing it because it was the 2020 the 2021 agenda. Now they done came up to the 2028. Now it's 2030. So they running out of time. Really, they out of time, but the time is 2030. And right now, they were supposed to have in 20 this end of this year, America supposed to be in under fire right now. You know what I mean? That was the whole plan about this year. But you see, ain't nothing working out for them. You know what I'm saying? And they already know they locked in. These shape shifting reptilian, they know they locked in. They can't get outside the dome. So they know they world coming in. They know they day was is coming, that they will have to, the unedible was coming for them. You know what I'm saying? The truth is gonna be out to the masses. They knew this day was coming. You know what I'm saying? And we gotta keep on exposing this and keep on, putting this the word out so people could start mostly waking up. The ones that need to be wake up. Because we already know all these people is not gonna wake up. A lot of these people is gonna be coming back to the 3D world because as we talked and spoke about the 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 planet is breaking out in two. It's in two. We got two Earths. Oh yeah, it's real. You know what I mean? Now we are shifting the ones that's high vibrational is shifting and then going into that fifth dimensional consciousness, you know, and the ones that's low vibrational is going to be into, what's coming for them because we spoke about the Anunnaki return, you know, and we spoke about that these evil dark cabal reptilians was trying to go into their agenda into really basically setting this planet up for their their home base, get full control over humanity. You know what I mean? You know now, and I spoke about the sixth race, and I've been speaking about the sixth race for so long too about they merging humans in with machines. You know what I'm saying? Terminator. That movie Terminator is so it's based on the truth about the Illuminati, the shapeshifting Illuminati was trying to bring humanity into. You know what I mean? So as we've been hearing more and more about robots, and we hearing about about the AI. Like I spoke about this, the AI. I ain't saying anything is ain't nothing wrong with robots, and ain't nothing wrong with AI. It's just who has control of it. And we spoke about Elon Musk. Elon Musk, Elon Musk, you just gonna do your research on Elon Musk. I spoke about his nanny back in the day was, she thought he was so weird, and she accidentally went in his room one day, and she walked into a portal that he opened. You know what I mean? So just saying, you know, you do your research about, Elon Musk. Elon Musk he was supposed to bring this, this artificial intelligence in, you know, and the mark of the beast. You know what I mean? As we talked about now, you look, y'all Bible thumpers, y'all, know about the book of Revelation about the mark of the beast. You can't buy or sell, if you don't take that mark of the beast, you know, and you seeing the everything that goes up, the food been going up, all the artificial foods that, we've been eating. It's hard to get away from this stuff because these corporations are buying up and own everything. They've been stealing, you know, everything. You know, so like I said, you don't know what you eat these days. You know, even though you just know that's some good meat, or you a vegan, you know that's some, a good salad or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You just don't know that because they really, they experiment, and they put all these chemicals and all this stuff in our food. You know what I mean? It's now you can't even buy a orange or a apple with a seed in it now. You know what I mean? That's what we really supposed to been buying. Apples with seeds and orange with seeds, and then you got bananas. Bananas have seeds too. So I'm just saying we can't even hardly get no. We go to a store, we buying all these artificial foods and stuff. So really, this not food we eating. It's really junk. We only know halfway what the fuck we eat. Now we finding out that they've been putting, human remains in McDonald's and stuff like that. Like I told you, everybody probably done had a piece of human meat before. You probably just never knew it. I'm just saying, this how evil this group is. This how evil, that this planet is. You know what I mean? That's why I say I call this shit the fucking zoo. When you actually find out what's been going on this planet, it ain't about race. It's not about. It ain't about money. It ain't about none of this shit. They put on you and saying this is about. No, it's about controlling humanity. It's about, what I'm saying, feasting off of humans. They got hanging pens. They've been hanging human beings on trains and and been transporting them over, humans in different, on different planets and shit. Just saying. See, they've been doing this shit for so long, been hiding underneath, and we talked about too about the black light satellite. This is it was made by reptilians. Reptilians created this black light satellite. You know what I mean? It send out low vibrational frequencies and stuff to people at nights and stuff like that. And on that black light satellite, they have hanging pins on there too. Basically, it's a ship. Basically, not just a satellite. It's a ship. And if you don't know about it, do your research. You know, because if you think we joking and we thinking we trying to fear monger you, know what I'm saying? We tell you go do your research because it's there. Everything that we speak about is there. You know, you maybe because you don't hear us talk about certain topics don't mean we don't know about certain things. I'm telling you, I'm a Gemini now. Me and my brother's Gemini, so we go into deep out in the rabbit hole, and we still finding out new stuff that's been coming out. But if we know that Donald Trump been hiding himself, the real Donald Trump been hiding, you know, because he already know that he's been all the threats and stuff, and we finding out that Donald Trump got 4 clones. Four, because at first I was thinking, we were seeing that he had 2, but now he had 4 clones. So just saying, cloning is real. Cloning is real. I don't give a damn if people want to sit back and want to, challenge me on that. But I got some, I got some paperwork to show you. Got some receipts to show you. Just saying, they've been telling us and they've been showing us for a long time that this been going on this planet. You know what they made the first really human clone back in the late 50s, early 60s. We probably been longer than that because as we go into the information, they've been cloning ever since what you say, Adam and Eve. You know what I mean? So when people want to say this stuff is all a conspiracy, this stuff is not likely. Just keep doing your research. Now, as 2026 get here, oh my God, I don't. I'm gonna really talk about this a little bit on this on this live, and then I'm gonna go into Vicky next time. We're gonna go in and speak about it because 2026 is gonna be a game changer. It's gonna be a game changer, everybody. I'm just saying, like I spoke about the religion, you know, the religion going, a lot of people is gonna shit a brick and finding out this was all divide and conquer, you know, uh, uh, the religion was all about divide and conquer. You know what I mean? Get us upset, get us fighting over what who God really is and Jesus and all this stuff. You know what I mean? And it's made up by them, the reptilian. Like I said, do your research because I don't want to just keep on, putting stuff out and people's not taking this seriously. You know what I'm saying? Because I told you, one point in time, it's gonna be a day that I ain't gonna be posting anymore because when that day come, you already know. You know what I'm saying? We going into our shift. The shift is really here. So, but now a lot of people want to be in massive fear about these beings, these reptilians. They can be killed. You know what I mean? They ain't just they got powerful bodies. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, but they can be killed. As I been finding out, they have three hearts. The best way to kill these things is chop the head off. So that's one thing you could consider. You know what I mean? If you ever approach one of them, like you need to run and get the hell up out of there. You know what I mean? Because especially if you're not the type of person that is skilled and really, with your hands or with your body, you ain't in that bitch martial arts and shit like I don't think it's gonna help you because these things they are very intelligent, they're smart, they read your mind. You know what I mean? So not one on one combat is not gonna stop these creatures. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, if you really wanna, hurt them and damage them real bad off with the head, like I said, they got three hearts. They got one heart in their inner thigh, and I wanna say in their right thigh. If it ain't their right thigh, it's the left. It's one of them. You know what I'm saying? These beings that everybody's been, hearing about, like I said, their frequency of the planet is going to reveal them. That's why we spoke about the veil. The veil is been thinning. As people seeing that they've been having a lot of interacting with the spirit world. They have houses full of paranormal activity. You know what I mean? And you notice, you know, over these last 10 years, a lot of people been having experiences of paranormal activity. That's showing of signs of the veil is thinning. It's just what it is. You know what I mean? The veil is thin. Like I told you, people's gonna have it's going 2026. I'm telling you, now you heard me spoke about 2025. A lot of stuff was going to be out. People going to know the full truth and stuff. 2026, you're going to see a lot of massive changes of the veil is thinning. We've been here, we've seen creatures and stuff coming out the woodwork right now. A lot of creatures coming up from the hollow earth. You know what I mean? A lot of them coming up because they know we are shifting into a, you know, fifth dimensional consciousness, you know, and, and like that on a planet before. That is so true. But like I said, you have beings here that's trying to stop that transformation, trying to stop us from rising in consciousness. Like I told you, this is not about race. This is about your frequency. If you got your frequency is vibrating on a high state of consciousness, you're gonna make it. No matter what color you are. When people want to say, leader, I'm telling you, we all have the rights to experience. We all have the rights to live. And like I said, and these beings is trying to stop that ship. They're trying to stop it. That's why they're trying to do everything in their power. Because the sun is life. They're trying to block out the sun because they know the sun is sending out them radiation. They're sending out that frequency that we need to rise in consciousness, put us in a crystalline state. I don't know how many times we spoke about that on this channel. You know, like I said, we get massive shadow ban because they know we speak the truth. You know what I mean? We might not, some people like, well, they don't sound like they educated and da da da. I told you about the education. You know what I'm saying? You want to say that person sounds so educated. You know these people have been going through these mind control facilities for years. And people want to say, well, you don't sound educated and all this stuff, but like I told you, you need to try to, uh, uh, to deprogram from their program. How they taught you how to speak, how they taught you how to present things. You know what I'm saying? This is their control. You know what I mean? I remember that when people say, "Oh, Barack Obama, he speaks so well," but he was pimping you too. He was a pimp. He out here pimping you. He pimping for the fucking New World Order. He pimping for the darker about. You know what I mean? But he speaks so well, though. You trust a person that he speaks so well. You know what I mean? 9 out of 10, when a person seems so educated, they so evil too. And then when people want to say, "Oh, that person's so educated," but these people don't. Some of these people ain't got no common sense. You know what I mean? Just saying, I give it to you real raw and unedited. You know what I'm saying? So you don't like how I speak and how I put things. Like I said, get off my channel because it's not for you. You know what I'm saying? I'm for the people that stand for the righteous and want the truth. Don't matter how hard the truth seems. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, the truth is going to seem like it's out there, but this is what they not been teaching us for all these years, been hiding from us for all these years. You know what I mean? So when I came into my awakening, I was going to have a massive breakdown because I was damn near, overloaded with full information. You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about shit that ain't no way, you know, because I said it for myself. I said, ain't no way, what I'm saying, I'm going to allow and learn all this stuff and not expose this stuff with the stuff they've been doing with our children. That's why I got on my path. These evil reptilians, what I'm saying, I've heard about them doing the devilish things. I mean, the wickedest things. They sitting up there, they slice a baby apart to suck out the blood. Just saying, you know what I mean? This is the stuff, information that's been leaking, but they want to cover it up. Now, I remember YouTube was one point in time, before it was, taken over by Google. A lot of people was putting their testimonies out. There's a lot of whistleblowers speaking about how they was, extracting chrome from children, how they was blindfolding these kids and taking them to a location that these people were putting on robes and shit, and they was setting up for a child sacrifice, and they was using like 6 kids, and they blindfolded them. And I remember this story, and I ain't gonna never forget it. Never forget it. That, and like I said, this woman, she grew up, she can tell this story now because she actually lived through it. But when she at that time, she said she was no older than 11 years old, and she told they had her and 5 more other children blindfolded. They took it was some type of school, and they took them into it. It was like she said, it was like you know, like a old gymnasium or something, but it was a stage right there. They lined them up, and then they took the blindfolds out. She said when they took the blindfolds out, saying she seen all these men and women in robes and shit, and all of a sudden she seen one of them walk towards one of the kids, slice one of the kids' throat. And I'm sorry for because this is gonna be little gruesome. You know what I'm saying? So just saying, slice one of the kids' throats. Then when the kid hit the floor, two or three of them rolled, people jumped on and started sucking and drinking the blood out the kid and off the floor. I'm just showing it down so that she went to a lot more detail. Like could you? I couldn't even fathom picture this that this was going on at that time. And she was just one of many was speaking about experiences like this. So I knew I had to expose it. If it take every ounce of breath in my body, you know, I learned that fear ain't nothing but a program because we were born without it. They conditioned us from birth until we start going into elementary school and stuff, and they put their they download their program on us, their fear program. Yeah, you see everything. Any movie coming out is about a horror flick or about something that can make a person fear. You know what I'm just saying? Because this shit is real. The shit that you've been hearing, it ain't a conspiracy. Like I said, I've been hearing a lot of people testimonies speak about them doing this to children, and you already know they can't be human. They have to be a being like that you looking at the thumbnail on. It's a fucking non-human reptilian being. Now, when I speak on it, I heard a lot of them is not, some of them is not evil. There's a few is not evil, but majority is. So as I end this live today, because I'm going into an hour, like I ask people, please, you know what I'm saying? Be aware, practice your discernment. If you got a lot of hatred for someone, if you got a hatred for yourself, if you got thoughts that it seems like it's not your thoughts, you know what I mean? Please, do your shadow work. Please work on you. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, we have a lot of non-human beings out here. We got a lot of, people that is falling for, the false flags and they fucking systems. I'm telling you, 2026 it's gonna be all about the inner religion. It's the start of inner religion. And like I said, this frequency is gonna start revealing a lot of these motherfuckers, a lot of these non-human beings. So be prepared. Cause we spoke about this, for 15 years. You know what I'm saying? That we're gonna come up to a day that, they're not gonna be able to hold their frequency anymore. And I don't know what Dickie had to come in on this show on this live to speak about the dark about, but I know we can come in with part two next week because I know he really wanted to get more into it because he got a lot of information and important information that everybody needs to hear about 2026. You know, because we done the work. 2026. It's gonna be a explosive year, and I'm telling you, a lot of people are gonna be. If you ain't in fear now, and if you ain't ready to witness this shit, you really gonna be in massive fear for when that frequency really, what I'm saying, rise and you start seeing these beings. If you ain't seeing them already, just saying, because they out here and they are real. They live. You know what I mean? So And I'm gonna tell you this famous quote, and I'm gonna get out of here. I'm here to kick your ass and chew bubble gum. Goddamn it! I'm gonna put it like that because I'm just saying, you know, we done came too far as a collective to start to keep believing their bullshit. Now we got to start uniting. I'm talking about the ones who was is here to do that, to come here to awaken and start spreading that light all over the planet. And now it's time to, you know what I'm saying, get set for ready because like I said, we at war and we been at war. And we at war with this non-human being and they call the draconian reptilians slash the illuminati slash the deep dark cabal in their system. I'm Dice Game G here on We Are Vicious TV. Dickie and Dice Game Show. Please hit that like button. Please share this long and wide. Please comment. I'm telling you, please comment because I want to know what you're thinking and what you think about this live tonight. You know what I'm saying? So I love you all. But thank you for listening and thank you for giving all your, your moment of your time. You know what I'm saying? I love y'all and I'm out.